that's killed, really. It's completely dead.
So it's not that salt is bad. It is a processed salt that we buy in the shops that is not good for us.
Absolutely.
Because real salt, as you said, salt of the earth, as you just said, has got minerals.
And that's what we're missing.
But we buy minerals in tablets.
Yeah,
so are those tablets full of salt?
No. No, they're not.
Have we been fooled? Or just sealed?
They have they have different minerals, don't they? And they have various other things in them. They're compounds made in laboratories, and I don't know. I mean, they're better than nothing for sure. But if we might, it's to do things really naturally in the way that some nations do. The thing about salt is to have salt that's been picked. You have like a pick, and they pick the salt like an ice pick.
Wow.
Rather than dynamiting it. If you dynamite anything, you shoot right to its core. You change the molecular structure of it, and then they bleach it and do whatever they do to it. And you finish up with this white sand that tastes like rubbish. But if you taste beautiful Himalayan pink salt, or there's thousands of hundreds of salts out there, because I have Persian lineage on my mother's way back on my mother's side, I bought Persian salt last week, and that's really nice. But you can get sea salt, you can get all kinds of salt, and they have different useful.
And because of time, I really want us to go through some of the things.
Okay.
So we've understood about you've understood about how the body works, and we've gone on to why is it so important for one to understand about their body and the functions of the body.
If I was just really straight and said it as it is, I'd say it's our responsibility.
It is our responsibility.
Absolutely. And if we're then nourishing children and other people, it's our responsibility to know what we're putting in them.
Yeah.
And it's like we know how the car works.
Yeah.
We know how the telly works, and we know how the computer works. And so we need to do that same service to ourselves and really understand. You have to know it all, because nobody knows it all, but we need to have an idea of how our body works for it to be its best. We tend to, it's like the modern culture is to just take this flesh and water and dump it on somebody's table or couch while we're kind of over there doing the shopping list. And somebody does what it is they want to do, and they give us medications full of toxins, and they give us.
We just leave ourselves in the hands of other people, isn't it?
We just
and we are meant to take responsibility for our bodies and what God has given to us, really, so that we can live to the best. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, and it's about when we take responsibility in the context of empowerment. It's not like dumping another something on us. It's like, it's so empowering, because if I'm responsible, then wow, I'm so empowered by that, that it gives me strength. Because my body is created beautifully. Yeah. And so it's like, it is my responsibility to do my best to maintain that.
To maintain it.
Yeah.
To maintain it. That's correct. Now, we hear a lot about, we've talked about breast cancer, and then you talked about the fact that you were the cause of it, directly or indirectly, by what you took in, over a period of time, and you had a responsibility to now undo that so that the body can heal. Now, what is this toxins that everyone is talking about? What are toxins?
Toxins are poisons, basically.
They're poisons? Yeah. Okay.
They're poisons, and they can either be natural or man-made. I mean, people say, oh, this is natural. Well, everything's natural. Hydrogen is natural, arsenic is natural, but it's the degree that matters.
Okay.
You can have one aspirin, it might deal with the symptom, but 20 will put you in hospital. Yeah. So it's the degree that matters, really. But when we listen to our body can kind of tell us things.
Okay.
Yeah. I noticed that. I was going to say that about the salt in that supermarket. When I walked down the shelf, I felt myself moving away from certain foods, like the junky foods. Yeah. Could actually feel a physical sensation of moving away. Where you get up to like the fruit and the veg and those things. I mean, there's a kind of, let's go and have a look here.
Because you were made from earth, isn't it?
Yeah,
we are made from earth. Absolutely. And so what would make your body flourish is what it would be attracted to. Yeah. And it is really rejecting what would be poisonous to it. And I know you've talked about the level of toxins in people's bodies. When does toxin becomes very dangerous? And I know we've heard that it's toxins that turns into cancer in people's body. But when does it become dangerous? Can someone live with toxins over their lives and not get cancer?
Yeah, I think so. I think it depends. You have toxins, the things that poisons do. I mean, you can have toxins like a bee sting or a wild mushroom and things like that. You can have, but like I got a bee sting last week, a wasp sting on there, and I just put a piece of raw onion on it with a bandage. And it was the next day you couldn't even tell, a piece of raw onion.
Wow.
And I tapped that meridian point there, put a piece of raw onion on, put a bandage around it, and you couldn't tell the next day. And that was when I was going to bed. So I thought, oh, I'm not going to sleep. Yes, I am. And I just did that, and instead of being painful, raw onion is amazing. So when do toxins become dangerous to our body? I think it's lifestyle again. It's looking at, because if you look at toxins, the natural toxins, like seeds and things, have a natural toxin to them. Nut membrane and those things, they have a natural toxin to them because nature does that. It wants that seed to grow. So you put the seeds in the earth and you water them, and what happens when little bugs come, little microbes things come along, and want to scoff it. They just want to eat those little seeds. So to stop them doing that, there's a level of poison in the husk on the seed to stop bugs and things eating it. By the time it's grown and it's strong, and it's like asserted itself and it's got a root, then that falls away.
Okay.
And then it's too big and can handle itself a little bit. So the toxins, the bugs aren't going to eat it. They do eat some, but in general. And I think it's the same. And I did that with mustard, whole grain mustard once. I was testing myself because I felt I had a reaction to it, an itchiness. And when I tested all each product, each ingredient, it was the husk that I moved away from. And it was like the husk because it's got toxins in it. So, but then the big thing I think these days is the man-made toxins, the preservatives, the colorings, the taste enhancers, the shelf life givers.
The sugars.
The sugars and the silly salts and things,
Wow, and so that's why it's very, very important for us to then detox, isn't it?
Well,
it has become the thing of our health for all of us. Everything is advertised with this thing now. Like this is reaching antioxidants, this is reaching this is reaching that. We need to detox. There's so many products out there for us to detox. And I remember this was a while back where it was a television program and they were trying to check on the different detox programs that were out there, and they finally concluded that an apple was just sufficient for us
a day.
An apple a day is just sufficient enough for us to be able to detox and stay healthy. But you know what, don't go anywhere. I'm going to come back right after this break. We are going to be talking about the importance of water. I needed you to get a little bit more information from Anne. We've spoken about toxins in the system that are harmful to us, and we are taking a lot of preservatives in our systems that are killing us, where God wants us to, he says, with long life I would satisfy you and show you my salvation. God wants to satisfy us with long life. Don't go away, stay tuned until after this break.
invites you to our monthly program titled Hour of Deliverance. Every second Saturday of every month, time 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Ministering Pastor Julius Hayday-Willay. Come and experience your breakthrough, deliverance, and total freedom. Also, join us for our regular services. Every Sunday for our family worship service at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Every Monday morning, Destiny on Fire, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Every Wednesday for our Holy Ghost service at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And Friday for Hour of Favor from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Venue, LCCM House, Kemp Road, Chadwell Health, Dagenham, Essex, RM81ST. For further details or appointments for counseling, please call 0208 597-6770, 0793-956-5981. Your appointed time has come.
You are welcome back, and I hope that you have been enjoying my interview with Anne Gylman. This is the young lady I met at the Mission to London conference this year, and I'm so glad I met Anne, because God connects you with people at strange places, and you don't know the impact that these people could make on your life. And we have been talking about health. We'll be talking about the body. We've been talking about toxins, but I wanted to ask you a quick question before we go to water, Anne, about addiction. Because addiction is, like, I would say, a passageway to letting more poison into the body, especially from an excessive level, where somebody doesn't have, or they've lost control over a particular thing that they desire. So what is addiction? Are people addicted?
I say, this is me, and I believe.
I like it when you always put your disclaimer there that this is my personal opinion. I'm entitled to it, so just listen to me.
Go ahead. I don't think anyone's addicted to anything. What happens is the toxin. We have, like, if you had a metaphoric toxin barrel in your body, it's okay if the toxins are low. We can tolerate that, and it doesn't affect the immune system or anything being strong and doing its job.
No.
Because. But as it gets fuller and fuller and it overflows into the body, it affects the nervous system, it affects the autonomic nervous system behavior, it affects everything. It affects the whole quality of our body, because poison does that. It just debilitates and destroys everything. So what I'm saying is, usually addicts are on a fairly bad diet because they're not loving themselves. So if you start off with whether it's chocolate or whatever it is, pizzas, television, and what that does, it keeps putting into your body toxins. Toxin barrel gets full, overflows, and what you have is colonies of mainly fungal colonies set up, and different kinds of colonies, but fungal colonies are really important. And candidas, they set up in the bloodstream and they may colonize on the tongue. A good example is like the nails and the toenails and feet and hands. You can see that all that hard, dead skin and those nails, that's all fungus in there. So what you've got through your whole body getting more and more so, is like I see it like that. Like there's millions and it's millions and millions of squawking little bugs who want their sugar. They want their carbohydrates, they want their preservatives, their processed food. They want all that, and they're just screaming all the time. It's like a nest of birds, with the little mouths open. But that's the whole system is full of that. So come the symptoms that we call addiction. So we have to keep feeding these little squatters, these little unwelcome guests. They're just we're hosting squatters basically, and we just need to. Water is huge in this, but to look at diet and just find something that can move us, whether it's a friend who'll be tough with us or whatever, to start moving away from processed food, street food, those things, and just go and give your body a treat of a fresh apple, of a beautiful bowl of salad with a lovely dressing, with some organic bread, You buy bread just to finish. I mean, if you go to my house,
make me laugh,
I make you bread. I put 5 things in it. You get beautiful organic bread. You've got flour, a little bit of yeast, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt and water. That's a beautiful loaf of bread. And you go to the supermarket, I don't care, the best supermarket, any of them, there's at least 30 ingredients in bread.
That they have added.
We don't need it. I mean, okay, they want shelf life and they want whatever they want. And it's commerce wants your money at any cost. And there's no love in commerce. So that's what we have. We've got, I don't think there are addicts.
It's just that you've fed your body with certain things for such a long time that the body becomes adjusted to it. And if you were to then deprive or clean up the system with the good things, then those bacteria then would finally die, basically, and then they wouldn't exist.
They don't
in
want
your
to live there. You create an environment that they can't live in, and they just go.
It's amazing. I know, already today you're going to be speaking at a seminar, that I connect. Yes, that I'm going to be I connected you, with.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know that, there are loads of people out there that need this information. My only desire is really people would put these things into practice, becoming more conscious of what we are putting into the body. We're so conscious of how we want our houses to look, certain paints and certain decorations. You sweep it up every day, clean it, put the air freshener in the house,
toxic,
but
air freshener.
Okay. but what I'm trying to say is that we want our houses to look good. We want to look good from the outside. I mean, I had to put on some makeup before coming on screen, but then we are not looking at the inside of the actual person that needs to function in all of these environments, so that we can stay healthy. Just quickly, I use this example that people use our bodies, or we use our bodies like mobile phones these days. We just, you get on your phone, all you want to do is just speak or get someone to call you, and the functions of the phone could be there, and if you never find out through the manual, you will never be able to use them, or you would be, you wouldn't use the phone to the full potential.
Absolutely.
And when something is not used to the full potential, it becomes abused, really. And so we're actually doing that to ourselves. But the difference with a mobile phone and the body is that you can upgrade your mobile phone after 2 years and then just get a new one. Yeah. You can't do that to the body, except you were to then go through this whole process of trying to live healthy, put the right things in, put the right things in the mind, get the right relationships around you, and so that we can function well. It's the desire of God for us to be able to function well. And I hope that you are really finding this very useful this afternoon. Water, and we haven't got much time, but we need to talk. Why is water so important to the body?
Water is probably the most important thing to the body.
Right.
And it's fundamental to all life on Earth. There is nothing that can survive without water. And in 2006, the government Stern Review, they did a study, and they said that I think it was from memory, I think 84 or 85% of Earth's waters were unfit.
85% of the water that we are drinking,
Earth's waters.
Earth's water is unfit.
Yeah, that was then.
I can, you know what, saying that really
quickly.
quickly.
You can see that online, the report is online.
There is a particular lady which she's going to be coming on, I'm not sure if you're becoming on Praise Talk Show, but I will be organising a health program for her. Her daughter passed away, she died of some kind of cancer, and she was actually drinking well water, and they were in Jersey, not knowing that the manure that they were, or the chemicals that they were using to nourish
the farming,
was actually the water had been affected by that. They were now drinking it, and the daughter ended up dying of some kind of cancer, which I can't remember now. But go ahead about the water you're talking about. Yeah,
that's really scary.
Yeah.
Well, so we're made of water. I mean, we live in humidity. We can't see it, but there's water, there's humidity between us.
Okay.
And so we live on an Earth that has a sea, and like we're 70% water approximately, as mature as adults, and the Earth is 70% water. So we have that correlation to the Earth as well. But we have, we're born. We have 70% water. The job of us is to sustain and maintain that 70% level.
Right.
Our body is 70% water. So even if it's 60 or 80, our job is to maintain that level. And when we do that, we need to get water, has to be able to go into the cellular system. So a water molecule has to be able to enter the cellular system because it needs to go into the nucleus of the cell too. Okay. Now, you might say, well, why the cells? Because we're made of cells. We are cells. And if you looked at us through a microscope and went deep, you'd get down to cellular level and the stuff after that. And so we've got these, something like, I think, 100 trillion cells in our body.
Wow.
And they're dying all the time and replacing all the time. The cell is the smallest natural structure that we know of that actually replicates itself. So do you get a kind of bells are ringing now? So that is going to replicate itself as it is. It needs to be in perfect, excellent condition. If it's not, it's going to replicate something that isn't.
Right. Okay.
So what it needs to do, the thing about water is, if you're putting, say, municipal water or that well water that the girl was drinking, it won't go into the cellular system because I think our body has a mechanism where it says, shh, can't use that, can't do that, But so people who often say, oh, well, I drink a lot of water, they're still dehydrated.
Yes.
Because the system isn't using the water that's going through into the body.
Okay.
It's like we were saying earlier about...
Because it's not the correct water that the body wants.
It's got to be. Right. It's got to have... it has to have the surface tension has to be soft rather than hard. If you put drops of water down, you can test surface tension.
So now we hear about hard water and soft water.
Yeah,
right.
In this context.
Yeah.
So you've got a cell, you've got 100 trillion of them in your body, that's how small they are. So you've got water molecules that have not only got to surround it, but they've got to get in it as well, to the nucleus. They want to
revive it.
Yeah, they want to be saturated all the time.
And then regenerate new ones, because the old ones are dying.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And they're constantly replicating themselves. So if you replicate... It's replicating itself, so it needs to be in good quality.
God is so amazing, isn't it?
God is amazing.
You just get up and just go to the bathroom, get yourself ready, leave the house. You don't know what the body's doing.
Amazing. It's a miracle. The whole thing.
It is a miracle. And so you introduced me to what is called structured water.
Structured water.
Tell me about structured water.
Structured water, in a nutshell, is that it's water as God intended.
Okay.
We've had the same water in this Earth's atmosphere. The same water's been going around for millions of years. So it comes to the Earth, we use it, we pollute it, we do what we do with it. I mean, and every time we go to the loo, all that stuff, goes into the... So what happens to it? I was just thinking, well, So it goes up in humidity, it's taken up into the earth, it gets the sun and the moon, whatever up there, and then nature just drops it down. Nature's incredibly simple and honest in everything it does.